All right, so we are live now. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. This is the fourth session that we are doing for AZ900 series. Plus, we'll be talking a lot about all the DevOps and cloud related queries that you might have. So, if you have joined, let me know in the comment section from where you are joining and if you are able to hear me properly. So please let me know from LinkedIn as well as YouTube if I'm audible and there is no disturbance in the background, and I'll adjust the audio accordingly. So I see four people have joined already. So why don't we start with a little bit of introduction, like where are you joining and what are you looking forward for this particular session? So let me know. And I see few people have joined from LinkedIn as well, so there is a repost button in the LinkedIn if you see. So why don't we just go ahead and do the repost so that other people can also join, so that it could reach the wider audience, right? So that everyone can take advantage of it, we can have a healthy discussion, we could have a interactive session. And I see few people have joined. Hi Sangati, thanks for joining. And Usman Sheikh has joined from AP. I believe that's Andhra Pradesh. Thank you, Usman, for joining. We have Mayank from Pune. Thank you, Mayank, for joining. So we have Mayank and Usman from LinkedIn, Sangati from YouTube. Who else joined? Let's see. And we'll give a couple of more minutes and then we can start the session. So those who have joined already, like what are you looking forward for this session? Are you here for some sample exam questions for AZ900, or you have some general queries about cloud or DevOps? Any cloud like AWS, Azure, GCP, we can take any queries. So let me know, like what are you looking forward in this session? Hello Uday, how are you, brother? I hope things are going well with you. So Uday, from where you have joined? And I know Usman from AB, Mayank from Pune, Sangati and Uday, from which location are you joining? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you are able to hear me properly through LinkedIn as well as YouTube. Mayank confirmed that audio is fine from LinkedIn. So let's see. Hello, Paramveer. Thanks for joining. So we have Paramveer from Delhi. Hello, Amey. How you doing, buddy? Okay, so Uday is also joining from Pune and Sangati from Hyderabad. Thank you so much joining. So we see we have people from all over India. So we have from Hyderabad, Pune, Delhi, AP. That's amazing to see, and awesome. So thanks for confirming, Sangati. Thanks that that voice is clear from YouTube, and yes, Uday also confirmed that it is completely fine from LinkedIn. So yeah, I guess we have enough people to start the discussion. So I'll give just a couple of minutes, like 5-10 minutes in the beginning, to see if anyone has any queries related to cloud and DevOps. If yes, we'll try to answer those, and if not, then we'll move ahead with the knowledge checks for AZ900. In the previous session, we covered like around 10-15 questions on cloud computing, IES, PaaS, and SaaS. We will move ahead in this session with some cloud benefits and other cloud service models, such as like public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and all those. So yeah, let me know if we can go ahead with those questions, or if you have any other queries. We'll try to take those first. Okay, so Usman has the question: what is the most common in all three cloud provider as per concept wise? If we see the common thing in all three clouds, AWS, Azure, and GCP, it's the underlying cloud computing concepts. So IaaS, SaaS, PaaS will all be there. Function as a service will be there. So, for example, in AWS, we have AWS Lambda as a serverless service or as a function as a service. In Azure, we have Azure Functions. In GCP, we have Cloud Functions. Right? They all are pretty much doing the same thing. They all have the same concept. It's just the implementation is different. They are getting called by different names in different clouds. That's the only difference, right? And if we see, like in Azure, if we talk about Kubernetes, in Azure we have AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. In AWS we have EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. In GCP we have Google Kubernetes Engine. Again, it's the managed Kubernetes service provided by each of the cloud providers, and under the hood it's the open source Kubernetes service, right? So concept wise it's all the same. Some clouds might have one or two additional services, some cloud might not have it, but other than that it should be same. So if you are well versed with one of the clouds, it will be easier to work on multiple clouds, right? So I would say start with one cloud. If you are new to cloud computing, start with one cloud, get some expertise in that, do some certifications if possible, and try to implement some hands-on project, and then move to some other cloud. Don't do multiple clouds parallelly, because that would just create a lot of confusion in your mind. Because let's say you are working on an IaaS service, so in AWS it is EC2, right? But in Azure it is virtual machine, in GCP it is GCE. So like you'll just get overwhelmed with all those concepts all at once. So try to focus on one cloud at a time and then move to other clouds. We have Ani joined from Jharkhand. Hello Ani, thanks for joining. Amit also joined. Hello Amit, how are you? I hope you guys are having a good evening. So Usman, I hope I was able to answer your question. Okay, so Ani has this question, where we find projects. So the simple answer to this question is, you don't find projects, you find the concept, right? So there are a lot of articles that people publish, a lot of GitHub repositories that everyone shares about the concepts, and then you build the project using those concepts. For example, let's say you have started with an AWS cloud, right? So first thing that you want to do to build a project is to build a three-tier architecture, right? Deploy some apps into a three-tier architecture, which is highly available and fault tolerant. That means auto scaling groups, EC2 servers, and then load balancer, DNS, which is Route 53, and then RDS, and RDS into a master slave architecture, so that it becomes highly available, and implement that manually first through the console or through the CLI, and then try to automate it using infrastructure as a code such as Terraform or CloudFormation. I would prefer Terraform, because then if you understand Terraform in one cloud, it will be easier for you to switch to multiple clouds. And CloudFormation is just specific to AWS. So that's what I would suggest to start with, and then try to look what all projects you can implement. Projects is nothing in terms of DevOps or cloud. Projects is nothing but just a use case that you are trying to implement, just a problem that you are trying to solve, right? And when you implement the project, just try to document everything in a GitHub repository, or in a blog post, or in a LinkedIn post, anything that you think could add some values to the others as well, right? Try to educate other, try to share your learning and experience with others as well. So this is how we grow as a community, right? I hope I was able to answer your question. So start with those basic concepts first, and try to move one ladder up at a time. Like once you have implemented infrastructure as a service and infrastructure as a code, try to take it to the next level, which is try to implement CI CD for a serverless function, like such as AWS Lambda. And then move ahead with other things, like how to set up monitoring and alerting for a Kubernetes cluster in AWS. There are lot of use cases. So whatever tool or process you learn, make sure you implement it in your personal project, in your personal lab, so that you don't just learn the concept, you understand the concept, right? Once you understand the concept, you will be able to explain it to others as well, explain it in your interviews, like what you have done so far. And just don't mug up the concept. Try to implement it, try to share your knowledge with others, and that's how it works. Okay, thank you Sman for the confirmation. Okay, so Mayank has a question. I created GCP account free, but now that we are doing the lab and while creating a VM instance, GCP is asking for adding the billing account and enable it. Can you suggest me to use this free feature? So there are multiple ways to do that. First is there are hands-on labs provided by GCP. I guess Quick Labs provides that, so you can look into that. That's one thing. Other thing is, even if you upgrade your billing account, just try to understand all the services that are still free for you. Right? There'll be still a lot of services that still covers under the free tier architecture, and make sure you utilize only those services, even if you upgrade to a billing account. Right? In that case, you won't be charged. So there are, let's say, there are some instances like the basic minimum instance with 1 vcpu or 512 GB memory, I guess, that will be that will come under free tier and for only particular zones. So try to look in the documentation what all services are free, even if you upgrade to a billing account. And the other option that I have provided you is to try to look up some lab courses which are available for you free of cost, I guess Quick Labs, or there are few other things. So Usman is asking how real time works. If story or idea that we want it into the code, could you please explain workflows involve till directory? Okay, so this is how it works. First of all, whenever you are trying to implement a solution, whenever you are trying to build a project in terms of cloud and DevOps, do not focus, like, we tend to focus everything on the code or the source code repository. Like, that's not what we are trying to achieve, right? If we are trying to implement a highly available architecture, or if we are trying to implement CI/CD, or if we are trying to implement monitoring, alerting, or logging, then the focus should not be on the source code itself, but the process around it, the tools that you have used. Right? So try to focus on that. Let's take an example of a simple app. Okay, so take a simple app, a three-tier web app. Try to deploy that into three-tier architecture. Before deploying that, you would have to create that. You would have to provision the infrastructure. So try to provision the infrastructure first manually, and like I said, then using infrastructure as a code using automation. Then try to implement. Then first try to deploy the code manually, like as you would do in a waterfall model, or like when DevOps was not into the existence. Then try to automate it using a CI/CD pipeline. Choose any tool of your choice, but make sure if you are new to it, choose the tool that is most popular. So you can go ahead with Jenkins or GitLab CI/CD or GitHub Actions nowadays, Azure DevOps, anything that you think could add some value in your resume and your knowledge. So pick that and go ahead with that. Then once you have implemented the CI/CD, try to make the application and make your environment more reliable, right? So try to implement monitoring and alerting. Then next step is try to implement logging, and try to create some alerts based on that, based on logs, based on your metrics and all those things. Once you do that, try to take the current architecture which is deployed as part of uh, on top of EC2 servers, try to dockerize the application and then deploy into the Kubernetes cluster. So whichever cloud provider you are using, every cloud provider has its own managed service of Kubernetes. So try to deploy that into that. And once you do that manually, after that, try to automate that using the CI/CD pipeline. So if you cover these things, so it will cover all your like 5 6 use cases and 5 6 scenarios. Then you move ahead with the serverless. You deploy a simple AWS Lambda function or Azure function, and then automate it using infrastructure as a code, CI/CD pipeline, and all those things that we have discussed. So in this way, you just try to move one step ahead and just try to climb up the ladder. So whenever you complete one use case, just try to think from a DevOps perspective, from a site reliability perspective, what can we do to make it production ready? How can we implement more logic to it so that it becomes more valuable, right? So I guess I've already answered this question, Mayank. So let me know if you still face any issues with that. Amit is asking, could you please explain AZ900 exam crack strategy? So this is what I would suggest. So just don't focus everything on cracking the exam. So your main focus should also be gaining knowledge from it, right? So make sure you cover each and every topics that are there as part of the exam. Try to read the exam blueprint first from on the Azure website, and then try to understand each concept. Don't learn the concept, don't just try to mug up the definition of it. Try to understand it from a 10-year-old perspective, right? Try to think, when you understand a concept, when you learn a concept, just try to think if you are able to explain it to a 10-year-old without any issues. If not, go back and see how can you simplify the concept for yourself. If you are able to explain it to a 10-year-old, that means you understood it really well. So that's what I would suggest. First try to implement everything. First try to understand the concept, and then at the end, try to see if you have missed any topic or not. And I have also published so this AZ900 series that we are publishing, so it has all the topics, all the question, including the sample exam questions, which will be close to the real exam question. So try to attempt all those questions, try to understand all the concepts that we have explained. If you can, it will be better if you could do the hands on Azure portal using a free account. If you cannot, then it's okay, because AZ900 does not test you on on the hands-on labs or anything, right? It'll be the basic concepts of each and every service. But again, if you are into the cloud, if you are looking to expand your knowledge and learn from the basic, learn in depth, then I would suggest you do the hands-on. Else just follow me along with the videos, and that should be more than enough. And yes, make sure you attempt all the knowledge checks that we do at the end of every video. Those questions will also help you in broadening your knowledge. Okay. Okay. Uday is asking, I started with AWS, but I got interview scheduled on Azure. One day in hand, suggest me the preparation. Okay, Uday. So that's how it works. Um, when I started my career, I started with AWS, right? And then I worked with Azure. And while I was working with Azure, I got the interview call from Google for GCP. So that's how it works. If a company is interviewing you from for a different cloud provider, and they already know that you are working in some other cloud, they wouldn't expect you to know everything about Azure, but the cloud concept should be clear to you, right? If just explain it to them. So what I would say is focus on AWS, because you cannot learn Azure in one day, right? So leave that, keep this aside, focus on AWS. And before starting the interview, explain it to them that I have not worked with Azure till now, but I'm open to learn, and I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to expand my knowledge, and I like to I don't want myself to restrict to one cloud, right? And tell them like whatever answer I'll be giving from AWS perspective. I hope that is okay. It should be okay with them, because that's what I have done in all my interviews till now. If I don't know one cloud, I just say that I'll be giving my answer in terms of other clouds, and it will be the like the overall concept will be the same, right? Just the services name would be different. In AWS it is called security groups, in Azure it will be called network security groups. So that's the only thing. In GCP it's called firewall, right? But the concept will be same. If you try to explain it to them with one cloud only, that should be enough. So I would say focus on one cloud, focus on CI/CD, focus on monitoring, alerting, all those parts, because cloud and DevOps role are like they collide with each other, they overlap a lot of times. So make sure you prepare all the cloud and DevOps concepts, and I guess you should be good. Good luck with your interview. Let me know if you have further questions on this. So thank you, Mayank. So Tanaji is asking, how guys, please don't call me sir. You can just refer me by my name. That should be okay. Okay. And can you please explain Azure Pipeline how it works? So Azure Pipeline is a PaaS service by Azure, right? And PaaS service means you don't have to worry about managing the underlying infrastructure. You don't have to worry about patching the servers or doing the upgrades, maintenance. All those tasks will be taken care by Azure. So when you sign up to Azure DevOps, it's the URL is dev.azure.com. When you sign up to it, you get all your CI/CD apps at one place, right? Like if you go with AWS CI/CD, you have to work with multiple services. Like we have code build, code deploy, code pipeline, all those things, right? But in Azure DevOps, everything will be at one place, and you just have to uh, add different steps for it. And it will be pretty easy to learn Azure DevOps because you don't have to worry about integrating all those services together. It's already there, it's already integrated. You just have to call one service from another. It has build, it has code repository, it has release pipelines, artifact registry where you can store your builds, it has test plans and a lot of things. So if you haven't tried, give it a go. And in like once I finish this AZ900 series, I'll be creating videos lecture on Azure DevOps because that's what I have in my to-do list. That's what's been requested by a lot of folks out there. So that's what I'll be focusing on next. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's free to use, and it's pretty simple. There are a lot of tutorials on the Microsoft website. Try it out, and follow me along when we start this Azure DevOps YouTube series. Yeah, I hope I was able to give a brief overview. Right. Thank you, Uday, for confirming. So, do we have any other question for now, or we can move ahead with our AZ900 knowledge checks? Let me know. First of all, tell me this thing: how many of you are new to Azure or preparing for AZ900 certification? So if you are worrying about the certification exam fee, don't worry about it. I will also, like, currently it's not available free of cost, but in the near future, maybe in coming few days, it will be there. So I will share all the details with you how you can get the free certification voucher. So do not worry about it. But thanks, Usman. But let me know, like, um, who else is new to Azure, and like whoever is learning AZ900, so that we know what our the audience wants to see in this particular video. Okay, thank you, Uday, for Amit. Okay, Sangati is saying I have knowledge on AWS and willing to learn Azure. That's pretty amazing, Sangati. That's how it should be. Like we should not restrict ourselves to one cloud because, like someone just mentioned, like Uday mentioned recently, that he was working with AWS but got interview scheduled for Azure. But if you have experience or knowledge with multiple clouds, it will be easier for you, right? So this is what I would also suggest. Keep yourself open to learning. Keep yourself uh, open to any cloud. Don't restrict yourself to one cloud or one CI/CD tool. Whatever you can learn, it will be adding some benefit to your resume and your career growth. So try to do that whenever you get a chance. Try to learn new tool or new technology, and keep upskilling yourself, right? So that's one thing. Other thing is, if you are let's say if you have knowledge in AWS, it will be easier for you to learn Azure because you already know some basic concepts under the hood, and you just have to translate that into Azure terms, like what this service called in AWS. So whenever you are learning multiple clouds, just try to think it that way. Okay, so I'm working with virtual machine. So in Azure, it is virtual machine, right? So what would be the alternate service of this in AWS? So uh, it will be EC2 server. Right? Then try to implement all those services together. Like in EC2, we have security groups, we have NACLs, we have SSH keys, all those things. And the same way we have the similar services in Azure. So when you try to relate multiple clouds together in terms of their service and functionality, it will be easier for you to understand the concepts. Usman is saying he's doing the refresher on AC900. That's amazing. I hope the videos that I have published till now are helpful in understanding the concepts. My main goal is to explain the concept in as simple terms as possible so that even a kid could understand. But even if you feel that it is hard for you to understand the concept, let me know and I'll try to simplify the process going forward. But I hope this is adding some value to your learning, and it is helping you out in your you know knowledge. So I guess we don't have any more questions till now, so we can start with our AZ900 certifications knowledge checks. So let me just share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. Here. So where we are. Okay. Let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. I hope it should be okay. But can someone please confirm if my screen is visible? This blue screen. Ganesh is asking when you will start Docker series. So Ganesh, this is what I have in plan. After this Azure session, I'll be doing few videos, few projects on Azure DevOps so that it will cover all the Azure DevOps concepts, and then we can go ahead with the Docker series, right? So stay with me, stay tuned. I'm working on it. Yes, a lot of people have requested the same. So this is what I have in the near future plan. It's Azure DevOps, is Docker, and then Kubernetes. So stay with me. There'll be a lot of videos and sessions coming up. Okay, so thanks for confirming that screen is visible. So we're gonna start with the knowledge checks. If you haven't watched the previous live session, so this is continuation to that. We have covered first few topics in that video, and we are resuming the same. So first question coming up on the screen, and please make sure to try to answer these questions in the comments so that this session will become more engaging and more interactive. So try to do that, and then we'll discuss what is the right answer and why it is the right answer. Okay. So the first question is, which cloud computing benefits provide continuous user access to cloud-based application with minimum downtime? Okay. So try to read the question, try to understand the keywords written in the question. It says cloud computing benefits which provide cloud-based continuous user access with minimum downtime, right? So if you have not uh, started with my video series, or if you are unaware about these concepts, do not worry, I will try to explain. But for now, these are the options. First is agility, then scalability, then elasticity, and then high availability. So I'll give you guys few seconds, try to answer this question, and then we'll discuss. Okay. So again, answer is given in the question itself. Try to read the question thoroughly, try to understand the keywords given in the question, and then try to answer it. I'm waiting for you guys to answer, and then we can start with the discussion, like which is the right answer and why it is the right answer. So let's see. Okay. So Usman with the first answer says agility. Ganesh is saying high availability. Okay. Anyone? Uh, who else is left? Sangati, Amit, Uday, Tanaji, Mayank. If you guys are still with me, can you also try to answer? Okay. Sangati says high availability. Tanaji says high availability. So we have three high availabilities and one agility. Let's see who's gonna win. And let's give it 10 more seconds and then we can start the discussion. Okay. Ame is also saying high availability. All right, so we have the clear winner. Answer is high availability. Yes, you guys have guessed it right, and I'll tell you why. Agility. Let's try to understand all these options one at a time. Agility is something that is the ability to move fast from one to another. That means you should be quickly provision the application. You should be quickly decommission the application. Thank you, Babita, for attempting the question. Yes, high availability is the right answer, and we are discussing why it is the right answer. So, agility is something. It's a ability to move fast from one phase to another. Like cloud infrastructure should be easier to provision and easier to decommission. It should be easier to rehost from one application to another, and so on. Scalability is the ability to scale up or down your application as needed. For example, in Azure, when you are working on availability sets, or when you are working with, yeah, let's talk about availability sets. So whenever there is a high user load on the application, the traffic is high on the web facing application, it tries to provision new servers which are identical to the existing servers. So that is called scale out. And when the traffic is low, it will try to decommission the server that are not in use. That is called scale in. So this type of ability is called scalability. So we have vertical scaling and we have horizontal scaling. I have explained this concept in detail in the first two videos, or the first video, I guess, of this series. So try to look into that if you need more details. Elasticity is automatic scalability. That means you are not manually scaling in or scaling out your server. It should be done based on the response from the servers. Like based on, let's say, 80% of the CPU utilization, scale out a new server. Or whenever there is less than 25% CPU utilization on a server, just decommission that server. So that ability of automatic scaling the servers is called elasticity. And then we have high availability. So high availability is making sure that your application is highly available all the time. There cannot be 100% availability to application, because failures happens even in cloud. But your application should be highly available. That means most of the time services like cloud providers give the SLO of 99.9% or 99.99%. That means there's still a chance of 0.01% of the failure. But even then, this is what they promise. And this is what high availability means, that your user should not be impacted most of the time. There could be some failures, but again, the question is minimum downtime. It does not say zero downtime, because that is not possible. Even if there is a few seconds or microseconds of downtime, it is still a downtime, right? But the question explicitly says minimum downtime, and that's what you achieve with high availability. I hope the explanation is clear to you. So let me know if you still need any more details in this question, and then we can move ahead with the next question. Hmm? All right. So let's move ahead. Second is, an organization hosts its infrastructure on dash type of cloud, no longer requires a data centers, right? So to rephrase this question, which cloud infrastructure out of this does not require a data center, right? So data center, if you have seen the second or third video, it says data center is nothing but a physical location where all your servers reside. Like whenever you provision a server on your cloud infrastructure, any cloud for that matter of fact, it will be physically hosted in a data center, which is a facility, which is a physical location where all their servers with the big networking racks, switches, and power, cooling fans, everything resides. And that's what data center is. So this question asks, in which type of cloud infrastructure you do not require a data center, right? So the options are public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, or Hyper-V host. Thank you, Paramveer, for confirming. And so we have few answers now. Usman is saying public. Karan is saying public. Annie is saying hybrid. Okay, so we have got some responses. And Tanaji public, Sangati public, Ganesh public, Usman or hybrid. No, Usman, only one should be the right answer. So public or hybrid. No, just select one. Stick to one. Okay, so we have got a lot of answers and it was pretty quick for everyone. Babita also public. Okay, so yes, public is the right answer, and I'll explain it to you why. Let's explain the other. Let's try to discuss the other options first, and then we'll come back to public. So private cloud is when you have a dedicated cloud provider that hosts your services in their own data center, and you are responsible for all the purchase of hardware. That means in a way that data center is owned by you or leased by you at least, so you still have to pay for the the infrastructure cost, the data center capital expenditures, right? So that's why private is not the answer. Then hybrid cloud is when you have a combination of on premises data center as well as the public cloud. So public cloud does not need a data center, like it does need, but it is managed by the cloud provider, so you do not have to worry about it. But the other part of hybrid cloud, which is on premises, you set up your data center, you procure your infrastructure, your servers and everything, and then you try to build services on top of that. So that's why hybrid would not be a right answer. Hyper-V host, Babita is also asking what is Hyper-V host. Hyper-V host is used for VMware servers. So when you have on-premises implementation, there are different implementation. Like you can install on bare metal, or you can install on VMware, and there are some other options. So when you install it on VMware, so this Hyper-V host uh, is the hypervisor that works under the hood. So yes. So yes, I mean exam would not test you on Hyper-V host. It just I added this as an alternative, right? So public is definitely the right answer, because in public cloud, you as the customer or the user of the cloud should not have to worry about the data center. You wouldn't even know which data center your servers are located, right? So that's why it is really important. And hi Vivek, thanks for joining. So yes, Karan, this is absolutely right. VMware EXI servers, that's where you have Hyper-V host. So Yes, amazing. So I guess everyone got the answer and why it is the right answer. Let me know in the comment if you still want me to explain any of these options, or we can move ahead with the next one. All right. So let's go ahead with the next option. So next question is, what are the two characteristics of a public cloud? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. That means you have to choose any two out of these. And let's see, the options are dedicated hardware, unsecured connections, limited storage, metered pricing, self self service management. So these are the option, and you have to pick two out of these. And don't worry, we'll discuss all these options. So again, take your time, and then we'll see. Meanwhile, if you guys are joining from LinkedIn, I would really appreciate if you could share it among your network so that others can also join and participate in the discussion. So Usman is saying DE, metered pricing and self-service management. Karan also the same thing, metered pricing and self-service. Options A and E for Ganesh. A is dedicated hardware and self-service management. Babita is saying metered pricing. Any dedicated hardware and metered pricing. Sangati A and D, metered pricing and dedicated hardware. Any dedicated hardware and metered pricing. A and B for Vivek, dedicated hardware and unsecured connections. Tanaji A, dedicated hardware. All right, I guess most of us has answered the question. So yes, okay, Mayank is saying E and C, which is self-service and limited storage. All right. So let's see the correct answer is. First is okay, so I'll first explain it to you. The right answer is metered pricing and self-service. And yes, Ame is saying metered pricing and dedicated, but this is the right answer, and let's see why it is the right answer. So first is dedicated hardware. If you have looked into the video where I've explained the public cloud, I have explicitly mentioned that public cloud has the feature that same infrastructure, same hardware is shared among multiple users and among multiple organizations. There is an option of having a dedicated host, but this is not by default, and this is not something that is like everyone would prefer, right? Because it comes with a lot of cost. So the default option is shared hardware. When you provision infrastructure, when you provision a VPC or a virtual machine or anything, it will be hosted on a shared infrastructure. So that means it's not on dedicated hardware. Right? Dedicated hardware is most of the times is on the private cloud, right? Or when you go with the on-prem cloud or the hybrid cloud with the on-prem side of it, right? So that's why dedicated hardware is not an option. The next is unsecured connection. If you look at this, unsecured connection is not a feature, it's a limitation. Why would you want to host your servers on cloud if your connections are not secure, right? So it's not even a feature. So that is why unsecured connection is ruled out. Third one is limited storage. So one of the benefit of clouds, one of the advantage of using cloud is you get virtually unlimited storage in most of the services like AWS S3, Azure storage, GCP blob storage. All these storage services, or if you go with EFS or in Azure, you have um, in Azure you have file shares, all those services. So these services provide you virtually unlimited storage, or a really high storage. So again, limited storage, it's not a feature, it's a limitation, and it's not a cloud feature. Then we have metered pricing. Yes, Babita, this is the right answer. Metered pricing and service management. Metered pricing is you pay for what you use. You pay as per the meter, right? When you take a cab, when you take an auto rickshaw, and whatever kilometers you have driven with the driver, you will be charged based on that, right? Same thing applies on public cloud. Whatever services you have used for whatever duration, you get charged based on that. So that is what it is, metered pricing, right? Then we have self service management. That means whenever you have to whenever you need a new server on a new service, you just go to the portal or through the cloud shell, and you provision the service or the infrastructure for yourself. You don't have to wait for anyone to go and physically provision a server in the data center, or someone who just switch on the server and then you will be able to provision it. No, there is no dependency to that. Whenever you want, however you want, you can provision your infrastructure. That is what it means by self service management. So I hope these all the concepts have cleared now. So let me know if we are okay to move ahead with the next question, or if you still have any doubts with that. Meanwhile, I would really appreciate if you guys could repost this LinkedIn live among your network, or share it with your friends, colleagues, so that they could also join us and we could have a healthy discussion. Because when there are a lot of people answering the question, we would have a lot of different answers, and it will be easier to understand and explain the concepts. Okay, so Sangati, Usman, they have confirmed that it's all clear. We can move ahead with the next question. So, next question is this one. You have, okay, let me just clear this so that you could read it better. Okay, so you have an on premises network that contain 100 servers. You need to recommend a solution that provide additional resources to your users. The solution must minimize capital and operational expenditure cost, and options are a complete migration to public cloud, an additional data center, a private cloud, or a hybrid cloud. So you have to select one answer out of these, and make sure you understand all the keywords. Like it says, you have an on premises network already with 100 servers, and your solution should have additional resources, and it should minimize your capital and operational expenses. Right, we'll discuss capex and opex when we discuss the answers, but for now, this is let's go ahead with, let's try to answer these, and then we'll see. So Karan is saying hybrid cloud. Okay, let's see who else. Thank you, Paramveer, for sharing the post. Okay, so we have one more answer. Usman is also saying hybrid cloud. Guys, if you are finding like it takes a lot of time to answer all the question, you can just type A, B, C, or D, and that should be also enough. Okay, Vivek saying I didn't get the question. Let me explain it to you. Vivek, so the question is, you have 100 servers on an on-premises network. That means, let's say you are working for an XYZ company. That company has an on-premises infrastructure. They have their own data center. That means they are not on cloud, right? And they have 100 servers. Now, your users need additional services, and The additional servers should minimize the capital expenditure and the operational expenditures. So, which type of cloud migration or cloud service would be helpful over here? A complete migration to the public cloud, an additional data center, a private cloud, or a hybrid cloud? I hope the question is clear now. Don't worry about the answers and don't worry about the capex and opex. We're gonna discuss it shortly. So Mayank is also saying hybrid cloud. So we have one, two, three, four hybrid clouds as the answers till now. Let's see what everyone else think. Thank you, Usman, for sharing the post. And Sangati is also saying hybrid cloud. All right. We have four or five hybrid cloud as the options till now. Vivek, also hybrid cloud. All right. Let's give everyone 10 more seconds and then we can discuss the answer. All right. Yes, the answer is hybrid cloud, and I'll tell you why. First, let's try to understand the concept in depth. So it says they have 100 servers hosted on premises. Okay, so they have their own data center on premises. Now, the solution also should minimize the capex and opex. So, capital expenditure is nothing but all the one time expenditure that you do on your servers while you try to provision it. Let's say you have your own infrastructure, or let me try to take it with a different analogy. Let's say you have bought a new house, right? So, you hire someone, you hire a builder to do the construction for you. So you are paying a lot of upfront cost to acquire the land, to get all the construction material, to pay for the services for the contractor, and all other building material and supply. So that one time expense that you are doing upfront is called capital expenditure. Then operational expenditure is the cost involved in the regular or the recurring expenditures. Let's say if you are um, let's say if you are renting a house, so you are paying monthly rent to your landlord, or if you have bought a house, you are paying monthly maintenance fee to the to a third party, or your like if it is a flat, you are paying it to the building owner, right, or the society. So these are operational expenses. Now, the solution says it must minimize both the expenses, like the upfront cost as well as the recurring expenses. Now, let's try to align these two with the answers given. First, it says complete migration to the public cloud. So, if you do migration to the public cloud from on premises, you have 100 server, and let's say you needed 100 more. So that means you are moving these 100 server to the public cloud and additional 100 server to the public cloud. So public cloud will incur a lot of operational cost. It does not incur you much capex, not a lot of capital expenditure, but a lot of operational cost. So that is why first would not be the answer, because you have to minimize both of these, capex and opex, right? Second is additional data center. Again, if you are provisioning an additional data center, you are incurring a lot of capital expenditure. You will buy the location, you will buy the land, you will buy the servers, all the hardware, technicians, team to manage that, all the networking equipment, the setup cost, everything. So those will incur a huge capital expenditure. So that is why that would not be a right answer. Third one is a private cloud. In private cloud, again, you are hiring a third party cloud provider or a service provider to provision a data center for you. And for that, also, you have to incur a lot of capital expenditure to buy the infrastructure for you first. So, third would also not be a private cloud would also not be a right solution. The fourth one is hybrid cloud, which is the right solution. And let me tell you why. In hybrid cloud, you have an on premise infrastructure and you have a public cloud, right? So your 100 servers that were running already are already running here in your on premises infrastructure. So the additional servers, let's say 100 additional servers, will be provisioned in your public cloud over here. So with public cloud, you are not incurring your capital expenditure. And because your additional 100 servers are on your on premises, that means you are not incurring more operational cost. So it's a mix of operational cost and capital expenditure. So it's making that balance that we needed as part of our requirement, right? So half operational cost and half capital expenditure. So that is what our requirement was, and that is why hybrid is the right answer. I know it's a tricky question, but it will test you on all those like hybrid, public, private cloud, cloud migration, and capital and OpEx. So it covers at least four concepts for you, four or five concepts for you. So there could be multiple questions from just this question. So if you have understood this well, you should be able to provide answer to two, three, at least to two, three questions. Okay. So Karan has a follow-up question. As company 100 servers right now, what would be your suggestion in future to move all their infrastructure to cloud or keep some private and some public? It's gonna be easy to manage in public or hybrid. Okay, that's really an amazing question, Karan. I'm glad that you have brought it up. So let me explain it to you why company wants to have a hybrid infrastructure or private infrastructure when public cloud offers them, a lot less capital expenditure and just the operational cost. So there are organizations such as financial institutions or some organizations, insurance companies, or some government based organization that requires to follow strict compliance and regulatory policies, right? For that, public cloud would not be an option because they would want to have full control over their infrastructure, and that includes physical infrastructure as well, right? Because of the compliance and regulatory policies. So in that case, they would go with the private cloud. But again, if they go with the private cloud or the on-prem cloud, it would incur a lot of cost. So what they would do in most of the cases, they would keep all their sensitive data and all their sensitive servers, such as production servers or servers that need high compliance and regulatory requirements, as on-prem or private cloud, and the servers such as their non-prod environments or which does not have a sensitive information, those server as part of their public infrastructure to save the capital expenditure. In that case, they are minimizing both their capex and opex. So that is the use case of hybrid cloud and private cloud. I hope it makes sense now. All right. So let's move ahead with the next question. I hope everyone is good with the explanation, or we need any more explanation. I'm happy to answer those. So thank you, Karan, for confirming. Can someone else also confirm, and we can then move ahead with the next one? All right, let's move ahead. All right, so it says, what is an advantage of using a public cloud service for the servers over on-prem network? Answers are: the public cloud is owned by a public, not a private corporation. The public cloud is crowdsourcing solution that provide corporations with the ability to enhance the cloud. All public cloud can be freely accessed by every member of the public, or the public cloud is a shared entity whereby multiple corporations each uses a portion of the resources in the cloud. So Again, like these all concepts we have discussed already, like what is public cloud, why do we use it. So try to answer this question, and we'll discuss if we need any explanation to this. So I'll give a few more seconds and then we'll start the discussion. Thank you, Mayank, for the compliment. So Tanaji is saying B. The public cloud is a crowdsourcing solution that provides corporation with the ability to enhance the cloud. Babita is saying D. Public cloud is a shared entity. LinkedIn user, I'm not sure who that is, but that person is saying D. Karan is also saying D. Sangati is also saying D. Annie has a question: which course I will prefer to learn AWS? Annie, let me try to take this question once we are done with the knowledge checks. We only have a couple of questions left for today. So let's finish that first and then we can take this question. So yes, Ame is saying D, Ranjan D, and Usman D, and Mayank D. So yes, there are a lot of D's over here, and only Tanaji said B, which is something different, and then Paramveer is also saying D. Okay, so yes, D is the right answer, and I'll tell you why. First of all the definitions that are given except D is not a definition of public cloud. The first one says public cloud is owned by the public, not a private corporation. That it doesn't have to do anything with the public, uh, cloud being a public entity. It's the name is public cloud because anyone can use it, anyone can provision it, decommission it as per the needs. So that's not even a right option. The B says the public cloud is a cloud sourcing solution that provides corporation with the ability to enhance the cloud. It's not a crowdsourcing solution. It is a solution provided by a cloud provider. It's not funded by the crowd. So that's what crowdsourcing means, right? So that's why B is not the right answer. And C says all public cloud resources can be freely accessed by every member of the cloud. It's not free to use, right? and and it's not for every member of public. Only the authorized and authenticated users will be able to use it. So that's why C is not the right answer. D, because we have discussed it before as well, a public cloud is a shared entity that is shared by multiple users, multiple organizations. That is why D is the right answer. Yes, Ranjan, D is the right answer, and he said this multiple times. So yes, it is the right answer. Okay. So I hope this is clear because like most of us have got it right. So let's proceed further with the next question. In which type of cloud models all the hardware resources owned by a third party and shared between multiple tenants? It says private, hybrid, or public. So let's see who answers this right. It's a little tricky to what we have seen. It added a little more complexity to it, but let's try to see. Karan is saying C, and Usman is also saying C. Annie is saying A, which is private cloud. Ame is saying public cloud, which is C. Ganesh is saying C, which is public cloud. So we still have a couple of folks left. So Babita is saying C, public cloud. Okay. And LinkedIn user is also saying C. So yes, C is the right answer, and I'll tell you why. It says resources are owned by a third party and shared between multiple tenants, right? So if we go with the private cloud, resources are shared by a third party organizations. Actually, it's not owned by a third party, it's owned by you, and third party is just managing it. And it's not shared between multiple tenants. It's just for you to use. It's dedicated hardware with the private cloud. So that's why private is not the right answer. In hybrid, you have on premises as well as the public cloud. That means you have resources that are just for you. That means they are not shared, and resources that are shared among multiple tenants. So this is also not the right answer. The third one is public cloud. In public cloud, resources owned by a third party. Here, third party is the cloud provider, and it is shared among multiple tenants, which is a feature of public cloud. In public cloud, resources are shared by multiple users, multiple organizations, and multiple tenants. So that is why C is the right answer. So Tanaji, Mayank, yes, this is the right answer. And Ranjan, sorry, bro. This time it was C. So I hope the concept is clear now. And just give me a yes or no if we are clear with the concept and if we are okay to move ahead. Okay, I'll just give few more seconds. Ganesh is asking explain tenants in short. So tenants is also the same thing in which we are using public and private cloud, and resources are shared with other users does not have any idea about your resources. So it added a layer of abstraction between that, so that even if I'm sharing my hardware with you, you would not have any idea whatsoever that who other users or what other data the other user is sharing, right? So that is what a different tenant means. So yes, everyone confirmed that the concept is clear and we are okay to move ahead. So here is our next question coming up. Says Dash provides complete security. Sorry, Dash provides control over the security. Complete control over the security. Sorry about that. So private cloud, public cloud, or hybrid cloud. Again, you can answer A, B, or C. That should be sufficient. You don't have to write everything. Okay. So Karan has follow-up question on the previous question. He's asking private hardware resources can be managed by third party. Yes, Karan. Private, when you go with the private cloud, you hire a third party organization and they manage the infrastructure for you. But infrastructure is owned by you and you pay for the upfront capital expenditure. And why this is not the right answer in the previous question? Because it says it is shared by multiple tenants. In private cloud, the hardware is not shared by multiple tenants. It is dedicated hardware just for you to use. I hope that is clear now. Okay, so let's see what others are saying for the next question. Sangati is saying private, Ganesh private, Karan private, Mayank private, Ranjan, yes. I'm not sure what that means. Ranjan, it's either public, private, or hybrid. Okay, LinkedIn user is saying private, Babita private, Ame is saying private, which is B, and Usman is also saying private. Public cloud have shared responsibility for security. That's correct, Pavita. Yes. Yes, so private is the right answer. And public cloud has shared responsibilities. That means the physical security of the servers are managed and owned by your cloud provider, Azure, AWS, or GCP, whatever it is. But you have to set all the controls like the IAMs, the role based access, the encryption of data, the encryption keys management, everything will be managed by you. So that is why public cloud would not give you a lot of control over the security. When we go ahead with the private cloud, in private cloud you manages your own infrastructure the way you want, right? The way you want and however you want it, even the physical servers. So that is why it provides you complete control over the infrastructure. The use case would be like we have explained earlier as well, where you are working in with a government organization or an organization that requires you to have strict compliance and regulatory policies, and you need like even the physical access to the servers. So that is where private cloud will be handy. And in hybrid cloud, because there is on-prem and public cloud, with the public cloud it does not come with full control over the security. That is why public cloud is not the right answer. So yes, Tanaji, Ranjan, everyone got this answer right. So I'm happy that everyone understood the concept between private, public, and hybrid cloud, and I hope this was helpful. So, okay, there is this last question, and then we can wrap up the session for today. It says to implement hybrid cloud, your company must have an external network. Right? Is that statement true or false? Right? So, you have an on prem cloud, you have a public cloud. They are joined together as part of the hybrid cloud infrastructure. Now, the question says you should have an internal network in case of hybrid cloud. Is that true or false? Okay. So Karan says true. All right. Okay. Ganesh says true. Sangati says true. Tanaji says true. Mayank true. Babita true. Amey says true. Amit says true. So yes, answer is true, and everyone got it right. True is because when you are connecting your on premises network to a public network, you already have an internal network. Right? You are just connecting your internal network to the cloud with some sort of VPN or express route or a dedicated route, anything that is over the internet. But before that, you already have an internal network because you have the on premises server. So yes, LinkedIn user says true, and Ranjan also says true. So yes, everyone got it right, and I'm happy that when we started the discussion, like a lot of us were not able to answer the questions right in terms of private, public, and hybrid cloud. But as we progressed with the end of the session, now everyone is getting the answer like as expected. I mean, the right answer. So I'm really happy that you like at the end of this session, this concept was clear to you, and it is really important if you are new to cloud or if you are new to Azure itself, and if you are preparing for AZ 900, understanding the concept of like basic cloud computing, IES, PaaS, SaaS, or private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud. These are really important questions, and there'll be multiple questions from these what I have discussed, right? So I'm really happy, and thank you so much. There was one question by uh, Annie, I guess. Let me try to take this quickly, and then we can wrap this up. So I guess she was asking from where I have to scroll a lot. Okay, here it is. So Annie is saying which course I will prefer to learn AWS. So Annie, you can go with you can start with like AWS also. If you go to the AWS website, they have their own lab sessions that you can try to attempt. Then there is an arcade game that they have. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's really helpful. And then if you like, you can get the basic understanding from the AWS website itself, and then you can go ahead with the, I guess YouTube has all the content free of cost, so you don't have to buy for it. But if you are looking for an organized plan, there is a course, Udemy course by Stephen Merck, and that's really helpful. That's where I uh, understood my first, there's like, this is how I gave my first AWS exam like few years back. So you can try look into that. And other than that, there are a lot of videos in YouTube. You can just go and watch it and try to implement the concepts, try to do the hands-on labs. I also publish few AWS video related to networking, VPC peering, so feel free to check that out as well. And I hope yeah, I hope I was able to answer the question. And yes, that's what it's called. Ame, thanks for just give me a second. Yes, that's what it's called, AWS Skill Builder. So look for it and try to attempt this question. If you are, um, Karan is saying more questions on IAS SAS next time as well. Karan, I have already discussed a lot of questions with the same topic, IES, SAS, and PAS. So try to look into the previous live session that we did last weekend, and it will have all the questions that is needed to understand the concepts. So it should be clear. In the next, we will move ahead with the virtual machines, Azure Virtual Desktop, and we'll try to cover as much as possible. And yes, Ganesh, train with Shubham. He's my personal favorite. So yes, try to. So he has some amazing DevOps bootcamp going on. So try to look into that. Train with Shubham dot tech. That's the website name, and try to register it for it if you are looking for a complete end-to-end DevOps course. So do that. And okay, for sure. Ranjan is saying more question, please. It is really helpful. Yes, definitely, Ranjan. We'll try to cover more questions from the next time. And like, I wish we could have done it today, but actually, I'm on call today, and I have to start my weekend shift now. After this, it's like just 30 minutes after. So that's why we have to wrap this up. But next weekend we'll meet at the same time, and I will share the link on my LinkedIn and YouTube. So feel free to join those sessions, and we'll have some more discussions on the knowledge checks. So if you haven't watched all my Azure 900 videos, please watch that. Last week I couldn't publish a lot of videos because of some personal things going on, but in this week there'll be a lot of videos coming. So make sure you watch the previous ones and these ones, and we'll try to attempt knowledge checks and any questions that you guys might have. So Sangati is asking, where are you currently? I am in Canada currently, Sangati. So it's 11:30 a.m. for me. So it's the morning for me, and yeah, I have to start my shift after this. So that's why I'm wrapping up this session. But other than that, it was fun session. I really enjoyed it, and I had fun answering the questions and the doubts that you might have, that you had. And thank you so much everyone for joining, and thank you so much for participating and making this an interactive session. And yeah, we'll see you soon with another amazing videos coming this week. And the next Saturday we'll meet you at the same time. And if you have any suggestions, feedback, anything at all, feel free to comment on the videos, LinkedIn post, or just reach out to me on LinkedIn. Anything that could make this experience better for you and learning experience more exciting for you. So anything that you have, feel free to reach out and I'll try to answer those. um, so yes, Ranjan is asking, thank you Mayank, I'm glad this session was helpful. Uh, that's what it matters and that's what I try to do. And Ranjan, when will be your next session? So next session will be same time next weekend, Saturday. It's 10 a.m. EST, which is 7:30 p.m. Saturday IST time. So feel free to join that. I'll share the link. Beforehand, I'll create a LinkedIn event as well. So try to join that. And thank you, Ame, for the wonderful words. And Karan, do not worry. I'm here for you. Like whenever you need any help, any guidance, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks everyone for all the appreciations. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a good day. Keep learning and keep watching the videos. And we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. I'm just wrapping up this session for now. Thank you. Bye bye.